all of us now have access to Gen AI, have the ability to create infinite content. We have a predictable result when we're drawing inspiration from all these same LLMs. And that's that we all sound the same. There's like this sea of sameness out there where we all become indistinguishable voices in this like super crowded room where we're all the best, the first, the leader.
Hi, and welcome to CMO Convo. Today we have with us Guy Yalif, Chief Evangelist at Webflow. Guy, thank you so much for being a guest at my podcast.
Michal, pleasure to join you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So before we jump in, would you mind sharing a bit about your background and why are you so interested in this full realm of the future of search?
Like you, I'm a fellow search geek, paid side and organic side, but I'm a former CMO who most recently was co-founder and CEO of Intellimize, an AI website personalization company that Webflow acquired a year ago. I've had the privilege of being a marketing leader, helping fellow marketers optimize digital experiences for more than 20 years, while at Twitter, Yahoo, Brightroll, TradeWeave, and then Intellimize. And if I may, 2 sentences on what Webflow is. Webflow is an enterprise platform that makes it super easy for us marketers, the designers we work with, our developer partners, to work together to design, manage, and optimize visually stunning sites that build your brand and drive measurable business results. Coding optional, used by brands like Sephora, P&G, NCR, Comscore, Duracell, New York Times, and so on. And I'm really excited to be here with you today.
Yeah, thank you so much also for sharing a bit about Webflow. And you are correct. I am a search geek and I'm also a Webflow geek. Honestly, when I used that platform, I was like, wow, that is such an interesting experience and nothing that I ever experienced before. So honestly, also from, a marketing leader saying that. So let's dive a bit into our topic, which is, of course, the future of search, LLMs, SEO, the rise of AI. So very interesting topic. And I think we've all kind of noticed that a lot of things are shifting at the moment, especially with LLMs. And I would love to hear from your point of view. What should we expect from this shift and change that we're currently experiencing?
To your point, a lot's changing. I feel like AI is a little bit rewriting some of the rules of search. In part, things really are changing, as you're saying. AI is, in some sense, rewriting a bunch of the rules of search because it's genuinely giving buyers more of what they want. This isn't a fad. LLMs are changing how brands are discovered and engaged with. ChatGPT, as an example, hit 100 million users in 2 months. That's faster than any other app in history because it's useful. And it's now at 800 million plus a month. SEMrush, which you and I both know is a prominent SEO firm, predicts that AI search visitors will pass search traditional visitors in 3 years. And Forrester surveyed a bunch of folks, found that 95% of B2B buyers plan on using Gen AI in their buying process this year. At Webflow, we're seeing LLM bot traffic. It's the number 2 source of bot traffic behind traditional SEO crawlers. Additionally, because all of us now have access to Gen AI, have the ability to create infinite content, we have a predictable result when we're drawing inspiration from all these same LLMs. And that's that we all sound the same. There's this sea of sameness out there where we all become indistinguishable voices in this super crowded room where we're all the best, the first, the leader. And it becomes harder for AI to represent our brands when we're kind of figuring out how to represent them as well. I know we all know how to represent our brands, but we sound more alike than we would like. And LinkedIn found the same thing. They surveyed a bunch of B2B buyers. They showed them a bunch of ads. 19% of them correctly attributed ads to the correct brand. I did not love hearing that stat. And so that, I understandably causes prospects to tune out, especially in crowded markets.
So first of all, fascinating. And so thank you very much also for sharing the data and the insights. But for us marketeers, and especially for our listeners, what should we do? How should we approach that? I think that also it sounds even a bit overwhelming to an extent. So how should we start even to unpack this?
I think we begin by understanding this is both a threat and an opportunity. To your point about being overwhelming, And it's to both parts of our jobs as CMOs. I mean, building brands and driving revenue. It's a little bit of a wake-up call. And if my conversations with hundreds of CMOs, as I know you have too, is any reflection, we're listening. And I think that's really good because I think it is a bit of a perfect storm. Like, I think it begins with the loss of control over the words prospects see about our brand. As people go to LLMs to get answers, they're not getting our carefully created copy. The AI is reformulating the words we worked so hard to craft, which in SEO, those words were used exactly. AI can give wrong or bland descriptions of our brands. It can omit the key points we want people to hear. It can dilute the brand positioning we spent so long creating. And if we have any out-of-date content on our site, I know no one listening to this has any of that, but for other people who might have that, or if there's another site that has out-of-date content, it's more likely to deliver words that don't represent our brand well, and there's real narrative risk for us. 2, lower traffic. Like, the second piece of our perfect storm is that AI is delivering less traffic than SEO. Google overviews, AI overviews, they're like now appearing 47% of the time. And Ahrefs, which you and I know is another prominent SEO firm, found that click-through rates on AI overviews are down 34%. And when we do get a mention, Columbia did a study where they found ChatGPT sourced the wrong source 40% of the time, or didn't provide a source at all 21% of the time. And so that makes it harder for us to garner the traffic we want. Bain said, hey, 15 to 25% less SEO traffic. But there's a silver lining. Silver lining is that folks are more qualified. They've gone further through the funnel. SEMrush found 4.4x higher value. Ahrefs found 23x higher conversion rates. At Webflow, 8% of all of our self-serve signups come from AI search, and they convert that traffic 6x better. And so, like, this perfect storm of opportunity and threat, the drop in traffic, it's like risen from beyond an SEO issue to a company level issue. The opportunity side, it's early days. Like the early days of search, there are opportunities there. You know, despite its meteoric rise, ChatGPT and all the other AI tools, they're less than 2% of total search today. And there's real opportunity for folks to move quickly.
Very interesting. I'm curious, what does it mean to move quickly? So how should we even, as marketeers, start to optimize our website for AI?
I think there are 4 things that are worth our attention as CMOs. One is content, where broadly we should go from keywords to answering questions to personalization in our own content. 2 is technical, where we go from typical on-page SEO to automated site structure. It's hard to overstate how important that is to LLMs understanding and consuming our sites. And then you got to make sure your site is super fast globally. 3 is authority, where we go from backlinks that Google gave us such rewards for to widespread mentions in plain text on other sites that are positive, all of which need to point to visually stunning, emotionally engaging experiences. So this category is all about earned brand visibility. And then we got to change number 4, how we're measuring, where we go from keyword ranking. The concept doesn't even exist when you get a paragraph of text. Then you're looking at mentions, and then you're going to share of voice.
Interesting. So it's almost as if for people who work in SEO and organic growth, they need to rewrite the playbook a bit, or to tweak it at least, to now cater into this new approach. So very interesting time to be an SEO manager.
This podcast is brought to you in partnership with Webflow. Webflow is a website experience platform that empowers cross-functional teams of marketers, designers, and developers to visually build, manage, and optimize stunning websites with AI-driven personalization and a powerful, composable CMS, enabling businesses to drive real, measurable results.
I would love to hear from you a bit about this new term that I've heard, which is answer engine optimization. And it's been like going around for quite some time, also on LinkedIn, etc., and from thought leaders. And I would love to hear, how does that change the concept of what we already know about SEO Would you mind walking me through that?
Happy to. And please jump in if you have a different lens on it. AEO is answer engine optimization, like SEO, search engine optimization, but it's all about how do you show up in the LLMs, in ChatGPT, in Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, Claude, Perplexity. The industry hasn't settled on a term. I've heard other people say AIO, AI optimization, or GEO, generative engine optimization. Some are saying, hey, they're different. I see most people using them interchangeably. So we chose AEO for now. If the industry settles on something else, we'll use that other word. But the goal for all of them, show up in LLMs. Have them say good things about your brand. Then have them drive traffic to your site, just like SEO. I think overall AEO and SEO, that like they're quite similar with a little bit removed and a couple of things added. Like good AEO is what good SEO always should have been, in the lens of great content that's engaging and valuable to the reader. One thing that's removed, keyword ranking, like we were talking about earlier. There's no concept of ranking when LLM replies in plain text. And a couple of things that sort of increase in importance. Two, one is we were talking a minute ago, plain text mentions of your brand rather than links on other important sites. That's super important now. That trains the LLM and it uses it. And two is the importance of metadata about the structure and meaning of your site, kind of like what we all did for Facebook's Open Graph, but now using this other thing called schema for LLMs. There's more, but that's the high level.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Actually, that's a nice segue to my next question, which is about the technical side, right? So do we need to do something in particular regarding structure, regarding formatting? How should teams kind of like start thinking about this differently, about the technical aspect?
It's a great question. In technical, in that category, your website infrastructure can be like this big competitive advantage, or it can be kind of a liability with LLMs. The single biggest shift is what we were talking about a minute ago, about adding structure metadata, which is all about helping LLMs understand the meaning of your site and how it's put together. So we made up this maturity model at level 1. Your team, they're focused on basic SEO hygiene, right? Ensure your website's crawlable, mobile friendly, visible. Even at level 1, we collectively have more work to do. If you look at the top ranking pages, a quarter of them are still missing meta descriptions. So like plenty of opportunity. As you progress, your technical foundations should support systematic content creation at scale while ensuring fast, 100% uptime, reliable user experiences, so that you're signaling quality both to the human prospects and to the LLMs. And, AEO rewards your content at this stage as well, because you're using signals to tell it, in addition to the metadata, that the content is easily structured by using phrases like in summary, using bullet points, having content that's dense with meaning. And then at the highest level, your infrastructure is actively working for you. You're automatically generating site structure metadata. There's one that Google, Yahoo, Bing, Yandex, and others came together called schema.org. For the CMOs listening, that's worth remembering, schema. It is a potential competitive advantage. It's a way to mark up your site, again, just like we all did for Facebook. 88% of sites haven't done it yet. And at the same time, 73% of first page results on Google, they use schema.
True.
Google themselves said, hey, what's that?
I'm saying true. I'm just saying, like, it's a bit painful for me as an SEO geek to hear that. I mean, yeah, we should address it. But yeah. I mean, please continue. Very interesting.
And Google themselves said, hey, look, this is going to have an impact. Rotten Tomatoes added structure. I don't know if it was schema.org specifically, but structured data to 100,000 pages. Google said they got 25% higher click-through rates for pages with structured data compared to pages without structured data. So sort of apples to apples within them. And then at the highest level, technically, you're sort of bobbing and weaving because this space is changing so much. And so you're evolving. We just released support for LLMs.txt, trying to push the boundary of what's happening and the standards to communicate. the LLMs don't officially use that yet. And so, like, we think it's worth investing in. We think that's future-proofing your site, but who knows? Maybe they'll decide on something else.
It's still a very, meaningful way to try to address it and try to future-proof your website, your search, your brand. So, I mean, I do admire at least the way that you're thinking about it and trying to figure out, okay, what will be next, right? So we want to be one step ahead. Which takes me to my next question. We've talked about the content, we've talked about the technical side. I would love to hear a point of view a bit about authority. Does this matter in the world of LLMs?
Authority builds from traditional link acquisition to establishing your brand as a definitive voice that AI systems consistently reference. So in the beginning, we're focused on basic credibility signals that we've all been focused on for a long time: backlinks, SEO-driven reputation management. But then you progress and you want you and your other thought leaders actively engaging in industry conversations through podcasts. Maybe they get to chat with you, speaking engagements, strategic content partnerships, while your team builds up a presence on platforms that AI systems are prioritizing more than search engines did because they believe it's sort of genuine, authentic content, like Reddit, like Quora, like YouTube, like LinkedIn. Your team at this stage is explicitly focused on Google's EAT, which you know very well, but for those for whom it's a new term, it's experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Basically, demonstrating that you've got the goods and you're talking about things that you've got the goods for. Next level. Your brand is now consistently cited as an authoritative source across industry pubs. Your research influences industry conversations. You're probably publishing some big annual something. That shortens your sales cycle. And we know that brands that are popular, that affects whether or not you're mentioned. AI chatbots prefer popular brands. And when people did research across the AI chatbots, they consistently rank them in the same order. And then you want to point people to visually engaging, emotionally evocative stories so you maximize the impact of the traffic you're receiving. At Webflow, we actually set up a Tiger team for Reddit. We looked at what are the top authoritative sources referenced in AI-generated answers for the questions we care about. And then we set up like a cross-functional team to try to go engage with those. We're working with affiliates on YouTube and TikTok. And so we're trying to evolve down this path ourselves. And at the highest level, you're like an industry authority, right? You look at what HubSpot did, sort of widespread positive recognition, leading to faster sales cycles, easier partnership discussions, premium positioning, and importantly, you're going out and correcting inaccuracies in other places that help shape perception and what the LLMs return.
Yeah, sounds really interesting. It sounds also much more wider than the more traditional classical SEO that we used to be doing, like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So you've mentioned Reddit, you've mentioned YouTube, you've mentioned TikTok, etc. I would love to hear a point of view, because for our listeners as well, we cannot just start spreading SIM on every type of, marketing channel that is existing. Where should we put our weight and our effort? You've mentioned Reddit, that is what your company currently is doing, that you build a Tiger team. So maybe it's Reddit, but I would love to hear your point of view.
To your point, I think a lot of the traditional places we tried to show up, they all still matter, but more than happened in SEO, we see LLMs prioritizing Reddit, LinkedIn, YouTube more, with the core premise being the belief that this is content from real people in a world with infinite Gen AI content, the sea of sameness. So it's like real talk versus sea of sameness. So we see when people do studies, these three are more impactful on Google and ChatGPT. Reddit in particular has done deals with both of them. And they almost certainly are some of the winners in the space. Copilot obviously uses Bing, but Google and ChatGPT both did deals to get access to Reddit content. Some data to support it. Reddit's the third most visible domain in Google's US search index, behind Wikipedia and Amazon. Reddit's the 6th most cited domain in Perplexity, and it's got really high domain authority and ranks extremely well in Google. And LLMs are citing high performing active Reddit threads to inform recommendations, especially when people do these high intent searches like, what's the best tool for X? And I think partly, at least for me, it wasn't so much on the radar, and the data supports it because 68% of Redditors, they're not on LinkedIn. 59% aren't on X. It's a net incremental audience. And so like some of the things in learning more about it, learn fundamentally Redditors, the vibe there is to distrust brands. They want authentic individual participation. And so in my humble opinion, we should thoughtfully lurk. And by that, I mean like, listen, learn before you launch. And then when you do engage, put founders and experts front and center and be totally ready to admit failure. Be totally ready to admit mistakes. Otherwise, you're going to get roasted because they're going to see those things. And so don't engage if you don't want to say things like, oh, yeah, we were down. Oh, yeah, that broke. Oh, yeah, we could do better there. Things like that. Right? Corporate speak, you'll get roasted. Hijacking threads for self-promo, they will react very strongly, super different than LinkedIn, for example.
Mhm. Yeah. Reddit is completely different than LinkedIn. I 100% support that. Thank you very much for explaining that. I do want to touch very interesting topic from my point of view, which is the whole topic of measurement. So what should we measure? You mentioned that ranking, maybe not so much anymore. Then what is it that we should measure?
To your point, we start off all measuring ranking because we get the 10 blue links, but then over time, I think we need to mature to recognize, okay, AI is generating answers. So how often were we mentioned in the answer? And then we measure, was it a positive mention? Did it say nice things about us? Right? That whole concept doesn't exist in SEO, foundational to AEO. And over time, as we mature further, in SEO, we picked a basket of keywords. Here we pick a basket of questions. And in that basket of questions, what's our share of voice against competitors? Is the content accurate and fresh? Those will give us pointers on where to invest next. And the most sophisticated measurement then really is near real time in guiding where our teams are making investments. Because to your point earlier, Michal, we could invest everywhere. And we want this feedback loop to help point our scarce resources in the right direction.
Yeah. It sounds as if popularity is about to become an interesting key point of measurement. Yeah, you gave me food for thought.
And to your point, being mentioned in plain text widely, which is a version of popularity, it absolutely is more important than it was before.
Yeah, the world is shifting, and we can see the impact. So I would love to know, so much things are shifting and changing. What should marketing leaders take with them? How should they also educate themselves and their teams?
We humbly suggest evaluating your team and then talking to them about levels of maturity in each of these 4 categories. We've come up with a maturity model with a 5-level scale. I'll walk through it briefly. There are many ways to approach it, but we thought this is a way to put it all together. So level 1 is keywords, where search relies primarily on, brand or main category keywords, and you're processing the demand that's already there. Level 2, you now start shifting your content to focus on answers, focusing on the questions that your prospects typically ask. Like you might go to Gong or another call recorder and see what questions are people asking late in the funnel. Let me go answer those explicitly with FAQs, with blog posts, and you're widening your reach throughout the funnel. Level 3, you've added more structures systemically across the site. You're systemically creating answers so that the LLMs have the content they want and can easily understand it. Level 4, you become this pillar of thought leadership. You're acknowledged in your space. You're attracting high-value mentions. And level 5, now you're an authority on AEO, which really is about just adapting to this continually changing space.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for this explanation. And do you have any pointers to help our listeners get even more insights onto that?
We actually automated assessing sites this way. If folks go to webflow.com/resources/AEO, you can type in your domain and we'll send you an automated report using exactly the framework I was describing now, sharing, hey, here's what we see. Here's what we suggest you do next. Nothing to do with Webflow at all, just for your site as suggestions, as guidance for each of us and our teams. Where can we guide people next to go maximize our brand narrative control and traffic to our sites?
Thank you. I'm sure you're gonna visit this page after our call today, guys. Thank you very much for that. And we've spoken quite a lot about AEO. I would love to know, is Webflow doing anything around AEO?
Just a little. Yes, it's on our radar very much. To pick a few things, in content, we make it really easy to create new content that's sort of on brand voice so the humans can review it. We excel at then personalizing that so that it's super relevant for everyone, for a segment, for an account, or literally down to the individual. We've got this super powerful, flexible, composable CMS that makes it easy to dynamically create content that's tagged for LLMs. And we have native localization support. I think that's underestimated how valuable that is in being relevant for LLMs with AI translation. Technically, super fast websites served from a global CDN with 250 locations around the world, and excellent core web vitals and lighthouse performance with structure, automated custom sitemap XML creation, native support for robots.txt, schema.org, LLMs.txt, auto-generating clean semantic code that LLMs like reading. And then on security, we auto update everything. It is SaaS. You don't have to manually update a bunch of plugins. And we've got great built-in form spam. For us SEO geeks, fine-grained in-product SEO control and automatic CMS SEO. And then for authority, that third track, really easy to create on-brand, visually stunning, engaging experiences. And finally, for measurement, you get real-time content analytics and real-time experiment analytics to help guide your efforts.
Wow, that sounds like a lot. So, I do have to be honest, my website is also on Webflow, so I do know about that things, and that's awesome. Thank you very much for sharing.
Anything I missed?
No, not from my point of view. Before we wrap up, I would love to leave our audience with a bit of information. So if I'm now a listener and I want to already start to understand, okay, how can I future-proof my search? What will be the first thing that I need to do or address?
If you only did, let's say, two things. One, I would shift from counting keywords to answering groups of questions that your prospects are asking. And two, I would add schema.org metadata to your site. Again, just like we all did for Facebook's Open Graph. Those two will, I think, have the biggest impact for your owned media on your presence in LLMs.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Guy. This has been a pleasure. So for our audience, if they would like to hear more from your activity, can they find you?
I would love to continue the conversation on LinkedIn, and please do go, if you would like, to webflow.com/resources/AEO just to engage more in this, and then we can talk about it on LinkedIn.
Guy, thank you very much. Have a lovely day.
Michal, thanks for having me.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of CMO Convo. If you enjoyed this episode, leave us a rating and review on your preferred platform. Don't forget to tune in next week for another insightful conversation with the leading CMO.